Welcome to the show. We're going to be doing a variety of different vaccine-related discussions today. Some of them are very depressing, like this first one. Some of them have me sort of cautiously optimistic, even if it's for sort of weird or cynical reasons, but we'll get to that in a moment. I want to start with a new poll that contextualizes the why of so many people not getting the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, any of the COVID-19 vaccines that are available. And we've been talking about these really pathetic low numbers where we have endless millions of vaccines available, and we're struggling to even vaccinate 500,000 people per day in terms of one dose. Remember, it being mostly two-dose vaccines, that's probably only about 280 or 300,000 additional fully vaccinated people per day. We know that it's Republicans who are overwhelmingly the anti-vaccine individuals. And we've sort of seen some polling generally talk about, if the vaccine were to be fully approved by the FDA, 1/3 of the current anti-vaxxers would go and get vaccines. And then we say, well, is that true, or is that just the excuse they're coming up with now? And when the vaccines are fully approved, rather than just for emergency use, they'll come up with some other reason, or they just won't come up with any reason and they'll just never go. We have a disturbing new poll, which finds that 20% of Americans believe the government is injecting microchips into their bodies, hit the body with a microchip in the vaccines. And this is shocking. Half of Americans believe it is possible. Okay, listen to this. Where is the start of this polling information? An Economist YouGov poll released last week did not attempt to link false beliefs to social media use, but it did find wide confidence in a popular conspiracy theory among 1 in 5 Americans. The Economist YouGov asked 1,500 Americans to respond to a set of statements, including the U.S. government is using the vaccine to microchip the population. 5% of all respondents, 1 in 20, this is a representative sample, 1 in 20 said it is definitely true that the U.S. is microchipping people with a COVID-19 vaccine. 15% said it's probably true. So you've got 20% of the country who believes it is either definitely or probably true that people are getting microchipped by the government for some kind of subsequent tracking, presumably, by the COVID vaccine. And then, look at this, fewer than half of respondents, just 46%, said it was definitely false. So between the 20% who think it's definitely or probably true and those who think it's definitely false, you've got an additional huge portion of the population that thinks, it's unlikely but possible or plausible that people are being microchipped by these vaccines. As the article points out, the debunked theory has circulated widely in the last year. Proponents suggest implanted chips will be used at some future date to subjugate humanity. Reuters reported in 2020, one video in support was viewed 27,000 times. Well, that's not that much, but it's still disturbing. The belief in the microchip conspiracy was most commonly held by lower income voters, white non-college educated Americans. That white non-college educated group continues to be a very problematic group, and Hispanic respondents. And I've spoken about that before as well, as an immigrant from South America myself, who's very in touch with a variety of these communities in the U.S. That when I was doing the Spanish show in the lead up to the election on the Estrella network, the amount of anti-vaccine conspiracy type stuff I was getting in Spanish was disturbing. I told some stories about interactions a couple weeks ago in Miami with some Cuban Americans who believed the vaccine magnetized my mom. I told that story on the bonus show and others. So nothing there is particularly surprising. Now, the one thing I continue to bring up about this microchip conspiracy is, other than, when the first question I don't know what the first question is. One question we would ask would be, does the technology exist to inject such a microchip into people through a vaccine, through a syringe that is the size of the COVID vaccine syringe? The medical research I've looked at says it's not even possible. We're not aware, at least, of that technology. Now, a good conspiracy theorist would say, well, David, come on. They're keeping it secret that they have such little microchips, and that becomes indefeasible, and it's endless cynicism. But the bigger question for me is, Why would you need to do this to track people when almost everybody is carrying something around that provides a wealth of information about us, including our location, meaning our mobile phones? In addition to that, most people's credit cards, debit cards now also have chips on them, which if you wanted to have it do the dual role of also tracking people, you could do it that way. Why would the government need to microchip people via an optional vaccine when everybody's already carrying around a phone and most people are carrying around a debit or a credit card? So it doesn't even pass the sniff test. But this is really, it has spread like a mind virus. Now, just one other thing. 2 out of 5, a couple. So just a few other notes from this poll. 17% of respondents thought that it was definitely or probably true that vaccines have been shown to cause autism. 17% instead of 20 who believed the microchip thing, also completely debunked. And then lastly, 2 out of 5 Americans said the statement, millions of illegal votes were cast in the 2020 general election, and the threat of the virus was exaggerated for political reasons, were probably or definitely true. That's 40%. More than half of respondents who identified as Trumpists believed that there was truth to those statements. So this is really, really bad. It doesn't seem to be getting dramatically better, but there is one little bit of news about which we can maybe be optimistic when it comes to vaccines, and I want to talk about that next. One of our sponsors is SteadyMD Primary Care, the easier and more affordable way to do primary care. And they're giving you 50% off because you are in my audience. You just answer a few questions. SteadyMD will match you with a licensed primary care physician that's tailored to your needs. You'll have a 1-hour virtual appointment and start a meaningful relationship with your new doctor. And from then on, your doctor will be available to you by text, phone, and video chat. It's not some random doctor on call. Your SteadyMD doctor has a limited number of patients. You get the attention you deserve, and they can help you with anything your primary care doc normally would. It's very cool how it works. You don't need insurance. It's just $99 a month, no other fees or copays for visits. Take the free quiz and see which doctor is a perfect fit for you. You'll get 50% off your first month when you go to steadymd.com/Pacman. No risk, no long-term commitment. The link is right underneath the video.